I'm Vic from the Friendly Food Club Kitchen, and today we're just going to put together a quick, simple tomato sauce. Now, I've actually got a few things left over from something else I made, so I'm just going to use those. I've got a bit of chopped onion and also some chopped red pepper, and also got a few slices of fresh tomato. Sometimes use fresh tomato in tomato sauce, sometimes I don't, but obviously if I've got some that needs using, then I will. Also got a tin of chopped tomatoes. You can use chopped tomatoes or the unchopped ones. It doesn't make any difference. As well as that, garlic, some vegetable oil. I've got a bit of dried basil, as well as some fresh basil, and oregano seasoning. The fresh basil isn't essential, but it's going to look nice when we use it, and it tastes delicious and it's very good for you. So the simple way to do this is if you just give them a squish, okay? I don't know if you can see, but just by squishing it, it's kind of, the skin's kind of split. If I cut the ends off, there we are. The skin has just completely fallen off, which is great. It was obviously a split garlic, or 2 different cloves, which is actually handy because I think just one of those will be enough. You can crush them if you've got a garlic crusher, or you can just cut them. I like to do them pretty fine. It gives more flavour, it releases more of the active ingredient, which is actually, when I say active ingredient, I mean like the medicinal, healthy side of it. And garlic's amazing, so good for us. So I've chopped that really fine. The other thing I'm going to quickly do, just chop up these tomatoes a bit more because they were sliced for a salad that I had yesterday. Might as well use all of those up. I'm also using the ends. If you don't, some people really don't like those bits, that's fine, you can just cut those out. And like I said, normally we wouldn't have such small onion and such small pepper, but because it's so small, it means it's going to be much quicker to cook. So I'm going to remove that, take all this over to the cooker. And then definitely don't want this too hot, especially in this type of pan. They can catch quite easily. I'm going to put a little bit of oil in. And usually we'd fry the onion off. Well, I would fry the onion off. People do it differently. A fair bit before adding some of the other things, but because it's so small, we don't need to do that too much. So let's add that. You can hear that noise of the metal expanding. We're going to add the pepper as well. And see if I can turn this down a bit more. Obviously, because it hasn't got a long handle, this pan, as it starts to heat up, you need to be a little bit careful and use oven gloves or a tea towel. Right, I shall add the garlic in. Garlic can burn really, really easily. It's high in volatile oils, or oils that will easily catch, and then it will go bitter. So it's nice to have it on a lower heat and to add it not too long before you add the liquid. We'll put these ones in first, the chopped leftovers. It's a lovely big heavy chopping board this, but that's why I'm not lifting it up and scraping things in. Right, give that a quick stir. Just grab a tea towel so that, in case it does get a bit hotter. So I'm just adding the tin of tomatoes, and very often I'll put in a drop of cold water, just swirl it around. It's good to add a little bit of water, it'll make it go a bit further, and you can cook it for a bit longer, which means that the flavours will develop more and also get every last bit out of there. And then I'm going to add a teaspoon of oregano. Teaspoon is if you kind of scrunch your hand up, so it's not your open palm, that would be a tablespoon, it's a like closed hand, and chuck that in. You don't need to be exact with these things. I mean, some people like to, and then you can follow the recipes to the T, absolutely no problem. Other people feel more comfortable just bunging it in like I do. So there's a bit less of this one, less of the basil. A little bit of good quality sea salt. And I know it's more expensive than the table salt, but it will last for so long, and it does make a difference in terms of the flavour, and also it's actually much healthier for you. That's everything. Give it a little stir, and we can let that sit and just simmer away, and really you can cook it for as long or as short as you like. I'm going to leave that sauce at a simmer. Simmering is when there are bubbles appearing sort of consistently, but it's not actually boiling, so they're not big and bubbling away and sort of exploding. There's just a few little bubbles popping up around. That means that it will cook slowly and gently whilst also evaporating, like the extra water will disappear. It means the sauce will get smaller, there'll be a smaller amount, and it'll get thicker, and the taste will develop and be really rich and lovely. And with tomato sauce, you could leave it for a couple of hours, you could leave it for all day really, so long as you stirred it and possibly added a bit more water in between, which will still, although it waters it down, it then thickens and enriches it again. So I'm going to leave this one for about 40 minutes and it will be delicious.